Hello lovely friends, welcome to my kitchen on this beautiful spring day. I'm going to be doing a Thermomix cooking video, and there's a few reasons why I want to introduce you to the Thermomix. First of all, the Thermomix, if you haven't seen it before, is an incredible kitchen aid. It can chop, blend, grind, grate, emulsify, sous vide, caramelize, steam, and pretty much everything else that you would want it to do. It is an absolute whiz in the kitchen, really useful. But also, because of our current climate, we are needing to get more nutrients and vitamins inside us. And also we all have, or most of us have, hungry children at home, and they're eating a lot of food. So you don't want to be spending tons of money on packet food when you can be making stuff at a fraction of the cost from scratch, and Thermomix is the ultimate companion to help you with that. It's also really easy to use for kids, so you can get the children involved, we can engage them, we can start cooking with them, they can become excited about ingredients, excited about the food that they're eating, and it's an all-round win. The final reason why I want to introduce you to the Thermomix, if you haven't already seen it or you haven't already got one, is because the price is being hiked up in April. Now, this is an incredible machine, and when it was launched last year, the price wasn't that different to the old one, and I was a bit confused as to why they did that. But now, in hindsight, it would have been so that all the loyal customers and anyone who was really interested in getting the new Thermomix could purchase it before the price went up. So the price is changing on the 1st of April. So just want to give you an opportunity to see what the Thermomix can do for you and your family every single day, and give you an opportunity, if you want to get your hands on one before the price goes up, to do so. So let's quickly introduce you to the Thermomix. So this is what the machine looks like. It's probably a bit smaller than you would imagine, certainly for what it can do. So you get this bowl with it. This is the only bowl that comes with it. Unlike blenders and things that come with like a million different attachments and blades and stuff, you don't know what the hell you're doing half the time. There is just one bowl, one set of blades for everything. Comes with this lovely lid, and the top bit disconnects because there's various recipes where you want it off, but also this is a measuring cup, so that just pops back in there like this. To get it to come apart, super simple, you just press your thumb against that bit, twist the bottom off, that comes off, blades come out in the middle, and then the whole lot can go in the dishwasher. It's all dishwasher friendly. So, and then just to put it back together, I recommend just placing it down on a hard surface, and then you literally just turn that back round once the once the blades are in place, like so. Okay, so with the Thermomix, everything comes within the price, so there's no hidden extras. So the various other things you get with it is a steaming basket. This is good for rice, vegetables, boiling eggs and stuff. You also get a splash guard. Some of the recipes require that you have the splash guard on instead of the lid, or as well as the lid, depending on what you're doing. You also get one of these, which is the butterfly whisk. It's used in various different recipes, and it fluffs things up, makes things smoother. You can use it in mashed potatoes or some of the sorbets and stuff. You also get a spatula, which is a really cool spatula. It's designed to fit the shape of the bowl. It's got this little gadget on it which stops it going inside of the bowl too deep, so it doesn't get caught up in the blades. And also when you place it down flat on the surface, it stops the actual handle touching the side. So it's got loads of different uses for it. And also, for the steaming basket, once the steaming basket's in place, obviously trying to get that out of the machine, it's going to be quite hot. So the spatula just goes on top like so that you can lift it out. Okay, so then you also get what's called the Varoma. So this sits on top of the Thermomix if you're doing recipes that require you to do so. So just to give you an idea of what that looks inside, it's got good capacity inside. So that sits just there on top of the lid. You've also got another dish which sits, if you require it, flat in the top, and then you've got the lid. So situations where you might use this, you might have made a sauce on the bottom, and then you might have put some liquid in. You might be cooking some rice in this section with meat, and then vegetables on top. There is a beautiful recipe that uses all the different layers, which is called Asian style rice. It's really lovely, and once you've kind of got the Thermomix going, it's literally cooking everything on the different levels. You can just walk away and come back to it about 20 minutes later and everything's ready, and just combine it all together. So it's really, really fantastic. So that's everything that comes with the Thermomix. As I said, there's no hidden extras, nothing else that you need to purchase as part of your Thermomix. You also get this book that comes along with the Thermomix. It's got loads of great ideas and obviously the basics about how to use your Thermomix correctly. And yeah, lots of beautiful recipes, all in colour. Fantastic. So that comes with it. So there's a couple of ways to use the Thermomix. First of all, if you were going to be using it for your own recipes, so things you already know how to make, you've basically got these 3 dials across the front here. So you've got the first one, and it's all touchscreen. You've got the first one, which is for the time, so the amount of time you want the Thermomix to do something. The second one is the temperature, so if you're going to be cooking of any degree, you're going to turn that one, it's going to change the temperature, and it goes all the way up to the top, which is the Varoma setting. Just before that is 120 degrees, so this Thermomix gets really nice and hot now. And then the final dial is for the speed of the blades. So you can obviously decide, you know, how long you want the blades to turn for. So you've also got here, there's a little button, you perhaps can't see it, but it's a reverse function. So if you're making stews and anything slow cooking and you don't really want the food to be chopped up, you can put it in reverse and the blades go in the opposite direction so that the flat side is turning the food. And yeah, when you're ready to go and it's all pre-programmed, then you just turn the dial. So the other way to use the Thermomix is to go online. So this is all fully Wi-Fi connected, and you can get access to a platform which is called Cookie Do. It comes on an app on your phone as well, so you can download the app and you get access to over 20,000 recipes, and each time Thermomix brings out a new book, they download the book to the website, so you're completely getting new recipes all the time. That's always being updated. There is a subscription fee for that, but it's like £30 for the year, which works out about 50p a week. So it's more than worth its weight in gold. So once you have got this screen up, then you can decide, you know, what you would like to cook. And there's a search function which will go straight to the website, and you can literally type in chicken and it will bring up everything that is related to chicken. So if you've got some chicken in the fridge, you don't know what to do with it, you can search up and you can get creative ideas. So this has got hopefully you can see that. Yeah, it looks like you can. All the things that I've cooked recently are listed here. So there's some beautiful dishes. There's sticky toffee pudding. There's a beef curry, a red pepper soup. There's a broccoli salad. There's an Indian salad. I've made mashed potatoes. I've made hummus, bread. I've made custard, blueberry muffins, chocolate muffins, butter icing, beautiful curry, aubergine curry with lentils and chicken on top. Really easy to adapt stuff to either be vegetarian or add meat in if you prefer. So there's tons and tons and tons of recipes, and I can't bring it home to you enough how much this will change your life if you decide to get one. It also is a massive money saver, because what you're doing, say on a Sunday night, you get your iPad and your glass of wine or your cup of tea or whatever you fancy, and you look through the recipes and you literally sort of plan your whole week, and then you can store that so that it will be saved on here, so that when you come to cook anything, you just literally, the dates are there and you look at the date and you say, oh, I'm going to cook that today, and it may have 4 or 5 different recipes in it, from breakfast smoothies to, you know, muesli bars to soup for lunch, with a whole main course prepared for the evening, and all your recipes are stored there. And also what you can do, once you've decided everything you're going to cook for the week, it will make you a shopping list, and it will also put it in order of dairy, fruit produce and everything else. You can then look through the list. If you've got some of the ingredients already, you can just untick them, and then you can just email that list to yourself and go shopping or do your online shopping order. So you're literally only buying the stuff that you need to make for the food that you're going to be cooking, and there's literally zero waste, because if you make extra, you can freeze it. Generally it's going to get eaten by the family anyway. You're looking easy for a family of 4, sometimes more. Sometimes it's going to feed 6 people, and then again depending on children, you know, if they're smaller or older. But you'll get to know, you know, per recipe, whatever it is you're making. So for instance, if you're making a spaghetti bolognese sauce, you know, you're going to have the whole capacity. It's going to be spaghetti bolognese sauce, and yet when you're making the portions for everyone, they only need about that much each. So you're going to make a spaghetti sauce, a bolognese or whatever, and serve it to all your family probably twice. So you'll get to know, and things like making the soups and stuff, you're going to get sort of 4 good portions out of that. If it's just you on your own, you might make the soup and then eat 1 portion, put 1 in the fridge for lunch the following day, and then freeze a couple of the portions. So you just can get really creative with it. So I'm going to make 4 different things for you this morning. So the first thing I'm going to make is a fruit sorbet. So you can use any kinds of fruit for this. I really love the mango one, and my kids really love the mango one, but you can also freeze bananas. You can freeze your own fruit, so that's another really good thing about saving money. And obviously in the current climate, if you're able to get any fruit, if there's any fruit in the shops, then you can get it, chop it up and freeze it, ready to make this super simple sorbet. So I have got the sorbet on the machine already because I was playing around with it earlier, and I make it regularly. So all you have to do is just go to the recipe, say you want to start cooking, and then the Thermomix is going to weigh everything for us. So as we go along, another great benefit is there's virtually 0 to clear up. It's lovely self-sufficient because it's all kind of going in the same bowl. So we actually need icing sugar for this recipe, and the Thermomix is going to make the icing sugar for us. So it's telling us exactly what to do, and because it's a pre-programmed recipe, all the dials are already pre-programmed. So it's set at 10 seconds. Obviously there's no heat, and it's telling you to turn it up to a dial of 10. So that's grinding the sugar, literally 10 seconds. You'd be amazed what you suddenly can do in 10 seconds. You're like, oh my God, I've got all this time, I can do stuff. Okay, so Thermomix is finished with that. I'm just going to take the lid off and show you what that looks like. So that is literally turned into icing sugar, which is really cool. All right, so then the next thing we need to do is add the fruit. So these bags come in 500 grams. Or just shy of it if Sainsbury's are naughty and they don't fill it up properly. This is saying 492. It's absolutely fine. Like I said to you, a little bit less, a little bit more, not a problem. So it's saying, do we want to add a little bit of lemon juice? That's optional. I'm not going to do that myself. So obviously if you're using it, you're welcome to do so. And then also there's an option to put some egg white in it, but I'm vegan, so I'm going to leave out the egg white. What the egg white does is just doubles the volume of it and makes it really fluffy. So it's really useful if you've got a lot of people to feed, doubles the volume. But we're going to leave that out for now. And then it's telling me to put the spatula in the top, like so. And then we've got 1:30 on the clock already, and then it wants to turn the dial to 5. So while you're turning, or rather while the Thermomix is working, you just turn this just to agitate some of the fruit, make sure it goes around nicely. It means you still get to do a little bit of cooking. This is something that's really good for the kids to do, so they feel like they're cooking. So while I've been getting ready to do this video, the fruit got a little bit too soft, as I would prefer. So the thing to do is have it in the freezer and take it out about 10 minutes before you want to make the sorbet, and then it's going to be perfect. But what I'm going to do is I'm not going to be eating mine straight away. I'm actually going to be putting it into a Tupperware box and then putting it in the freezer anyway. So in the freezer, it can last for a good couple of months in there. Generally speaking, it's probably going to get eaten pretty much straight away when you do make it with your kids, but you know. Okay, that's lovely. Now, because mine wasn't completely frozen, it was ready a little bit before the time. So all I did, hopefully you saw that, I just changed the timer dial and just took it down to 0, which will stop the Thermomix at any point. And there we go. We have a beautiful mango sorbet, which is actually pretty much just like an ice cream. It's so creamy. People, when they try it, are literally like, oh my God, are you serious? There's no dairy in that. So that's actually such a beautiful consistency. Even though the fruit wasn't 100% frozen, it is really perfect. Just like a lovely mango ice cream with basically just fruit and a tiny bit of sugar. So that makes a nice size portion. I'm going to be really good and not try any of it and put it straight in the freezer for the kids to have for tea later. Okay, lovely. So just need to give this a quick rinse out. There are a couple of options when you're cleaning your Thermomix. So it actually has a pre-clean option, which is really, really intelligent. It works out how much dirt or, so particularly when you're doing caramelization with sugar, in sugar modes, obviously when you're finished cooking and using it, the sugar goes really rock hard. So all you have to do is put some water in, just, and if you want to, a tiny dot of washing up liquid, and then you basically put it back on the Thermomix, select the pre-clean option, and then it will determine how long is required for it to be cleaned for. So that's quite incredible. But the other option, as you can see, is just to give it a rinse and start again. So if you're making like anything that is like a dough or pizza bread doughs or whatever, anything like that, or cakes, then what you can do is you can use the pre-clean for that as well, because what it will do is if there's any dough or anything stuck around the blades, then it'll get it out really easily. Okay, so just give the lid a quick rinse. All right, lovely. So next up, we're going to make some vegetable muffins. Now these are fabulous because kids, particularly younger ones, think they're eating muffins, and actually they've got vegetables in them, so they're savoury. They've got some cheese in them, which, you know, most kids like cheese. There would be an option to make these vegan as well if you wanted to, but my kids, I let them eat dairy and whatever they want till they're old enough to make their own choices. So all right, so we're going to go to the home screen, and then we're going to go to recently cooked, and then I've got the vegetable muffins there because I've been working on them. Because I was looking at the recipe earlier, it's stored whereabouts I was in the recipe, and it's asking me, do I want to resume the recipe or to restart? So I'm just going to say I'm going to restart the recipe. So it's vegetable cheese muffins, and we're going to start cooking. All right, so first of all, we need to put the oven on, which I've already done. It's 180 degrees. And then it wants you to grease a tin. Rather than grease a tin, I've just put cupcake holders in because it's going to make 12 and I don't want my kids to eat them all in one go. So I'm going to freeze a batch. So I thought it'd be easier to have them in a little paper cup, which is fine. So either way is fine. Okay, so first off, we're going to be putting 60 grams of cheddar into the Thermomix. There we go. So that's popped up to literally 61, and that's absolutely fine. Now it's asking me to put the lid onto the bowl. And then again, all pre-programmed. So we've got 3 seconds and it's speed 8. So all you have to do is turn the dial. Okay, so that was 3 seconds of chopping up your cheese. And look at that, beautifully chopped, ready for your recipe. Okay, so we just simply say next, and then we want 100 grams of carrots. And these carrots have been peeled and then just chopped a little bit. So I'm gonna just make sure that is on 0 and put those in. Lovely, 99 grams of carrot, perfection. Okay, next off it calls for some nuts. Now if you didn't want to use nuts, or your children has nut allergy, it'd be absolutely fine to just leave these out of the recipe. So for the moment I'm going to put these in, and it's asking for 70 grams of hazelnuts. I didn't have quite enough hazelnuts, so I've added some almonds. Okay, so we're going to pop those in. 70, absolutely perfect. All right, so we're then putting the lid back on. And then it's pre-programmed, it's 5 seconds for a speed of 5. So we just turn this to speed 5. Okay, and we're going to say next. So it's asking me just to scrape down the sides of the bowls, because with the velocity of the blade, some of the food can get sent up the side. So if you just have a look at that. So that's your carrot and your nuts all nicely chopped together. So and actually there's not much that's gone up on the sides this time round. So we'll pop that there. Okay, now we're going to add some oil. So you can add whichever kind of oil you prefer. I've got some olive oil here. The recipe is asking for sunflower oil, but whichever oil you would like to use will be fine. So it's 100 grams of oil. When you're adding liquid, just go a little bit slowly towards the end, because obviously taking liquids out again is a little bit tricky. I find that a glug like that is about 5 grams. Okay. Couple grams more. Perfect. All right, and then we want 190 grams of milk. So again, just thinking about not pouring the milk too quickly, because the Thermomix will take a second to catch up with you. Obviously you can go quickly in the beginning and then just slow up towards the end. Okay, we're just on 186 there, tiny bit more, 187, 88, 89, 190. Beautiful. All right, next 2 medium eggs. Pop those in like so. And then pop the lid of the Thermomix back on again. This time it's going to mix for 8 seconds on speed 3. You can't see, but there's literally no mess here whatsoever. The only thing I've been using is this and the spatula. Okay, so 8 seconds. And that has all, oh, I don't want to tip it out the edge. That has all mixed beautifully. All right, so next up, we want our flour. So it's 250 grams of plain flour. And with the Thermomix, you don't need to worry about sieving flour into things, because it mixes it with such power that enough air gets into them anyway. So okay, 247. Perfect. Okay, and then next, so we want 2 teaspoons of baking powder. There's 1, 2. And a little bit of salt. Again, if you want to leave this out, you're welcome to do so. Depends whether you're making these for adult consumption or for your kids. And again, it's asking for cayenne pepper, but for the kids, that might be a bit strong. So I'm just going to add a little bit of normal pepper. And then pop the lid back on. And turn the dial to 5. So it's going to mix on speed 5 for 10 seconds. So here's the tray that I'm going to put the muffins into, and then I'm going to put them into the oven to cook. And it's as simple as that, ready to go. So I'm just going to get myself a spoon so that I can pop some of the mixture into each of these. Now it looks to me as though this is actually going to make more than 12 muffins, which is fabulous. So what I'm going to need to do when I've popped these in is just use one of my bowls for the rest of the mix. And then once these little guys are cooked, I will be able to do another batch. That is quite incredible. I would say there's going to easily be enough here for 24 muffins. So, hungry children, solution complete. So another option, if your children don't like carrots, or if you want to put a bit more vegetables in them, is to add some peas. And also you could put courgette in. Okay, these are ready to go in the oven. Maybe a tiny bit more in that one. Okay, lovely. There's definitely enough for another batch left over. They're ready to go, so I'm just going to pop those in the oven. And it's even going to tell me how long to pop them in the oven for. So bake at 180 degrees for 20 minutes. Job done. All right, so I'm just going to quickly get the rest of this. So it's not a good idea to use a normal spoon to scrape the food out of the Thermomix bowl, because it will scratch it. So it's fine if you're just taking bits out, but when you actually want to get the final bits out of the bowl at the end, it's always a good idea to use your spatula. You can also buy other silicone spatulas if you need an extra one when you're cooking. Otherwise, this one is just perfect. Okay, so because some of the mixture is left around the blades, I'm going to show you how to do the pre-clean. Okay, so as you can see, it's around the blades there, so I'm just going to put some water into the Thermomix. So there's two ways you can do this. You can either do this by eye, which is what I'm doing, or when you go to the pre-clean option, it will tell you how much water to weigh into it. All right, so we're done with this recipe, so that's finished now. So we're going to go back to the home screen, and then the way that you access the other functions on the Thermomix is just swipe. There we go. So you just swipe it across, and then you've got all these other functions. So you've got your scales, your dough options, turbo options, you've got the pre-clean. You can use Thermomix for a kettle if you wanted to. So if you're traveling, if you're going anywhere, say in a caravan, you take your Thermomix with you and you haven't got a kettle, you can use it as a kettle. So that's pretty cool. You've also got a blending option, slow cooking option, the sous vide, fermentation mode, which means you can make yogurts and kombucha and things like that. And you've got the rice cooker option. So here we're just going to go with the pre-clean. So I'm selecting the pre-clean, and then that's saying that it's going to need 5 minutes. Well, I'm not going to give it 5 minutes. I don't think it needs 5 minutes for that. So I'm just going to let it do its job there. can hear it's whizzing around, and it'll slowly start to build up some speed. So with this pre-clean option, when it sort of sets at like 5 minutes, obviously depending on what you've been cooking, you don't necessarily need that. So I'm just going to jump out of here a minute and show you. Okay, so if you turn the dial, then obviously you can stop the Thermomix at any point. So I'm just going to jump to the home screen, and then you can do your own version of the pre-clean. So I'm going to put it for 10 seconds, and then I'm going to put the blaze up to quite high speed. Lovely. So that's that done. Okay. So I'm just going to tip this out. And then, as you can see, everything's much cleaner. And now what we need to do is just to rinse around the bowl with some water. We use our sponge with a little bit of liquid on it, just to get any final bits and pieces out from the very bottom. So we don't want any raw egg, etc., to be in our next recipe. So just giving the lid. And now I'm just rinsing out the soap suds from the bowl. Okay, we're ready to go again. So I'll just get my tea towel. All right, next up we're going to make some pesto. Homemade pesto is so quick and simple in the Thermomix, absolutely beautiful. Kids love it. Getting fresh garlic into the children, super easy. And it's just a really quick meal to be able to make with some pasta. And obviously, as it's fresh and homemade, it tastes so much better than anything that you will find in the shops. Even the pestos that look like they're supposed to be fresh, not compared with making this yourself. All right, so let's go to our recently cooked. We've got our basil pesto, and we're gonna restart from the beginning and start cooking. Okay, so again, because I'm going to be eating this with the kids, I'm not going to put any cheese in it as a vegan alternative. And what I do with the kids is I'll grate some cheese on theirs afterwards when it's cooked, just so they've got a bit of cheese going through it. So if you want to use cheese, that's absolutely fine. This recipe requires Parmesan cheese. You put it in, you grate it. It's incredible how quickly it will grate the Parmesan, really amazing. So I'm just going to press next, because obviously we're not going to do that stage, and then head to the next stage, which is adding the pine nuts. So we're going to add 30 grams of pine nuts. So you can use other nuts if you would like. It's really nice with cashew nuts, or any other nut would be suitable. So we've got our pine nuts in there, and then we're going to add some garlic. The recipe just calls for 1 clove of garlic, but my kids love food that's really garlicky, and so do I. So I'm going to put a couple in. If you wanted to, you could even go with like 3. That would be fine. Okay, so then we want some fresh basil. We're going to put in, now this is just shy of 80 grams because this is 2 packets from the supermarket. So the recipe calls for 80 grams. If you do want to do the full recipe, then you're going to need to buy yourself 3 packets. But as there's a short supply of everything at the moment, just tone it down a little bit on the basil. It's fine. It's still super delicious. In fact, I've used it with only 1 packet of basil and it's been amazing still. So, all right, now we're going to put our oil in. So we need 150 grams of oil. my oil has just run out. So let me just grab another one quickly. Thank heavens for larders. Right, here we go. Continuing there. So this was requiring 150. I'm just going to stop just shy of that because we haven't got quite so many basil leaves. There's a little bit of garlic that escaped there, so I'm going to just pop that in. All right, so next, some salt. Again, feel free to omit this from the recipe if you're cooking for young children. And then we're going to take our lid, just give it a little dry. And then pop that straight on. And then next, so already pre-programmed, so it's 20 seconds for speed 7. It's incredible how long 20 seconds seems when you've got some time. Right, I'm just going to wash up the spatula quickly. Okay, spatula's ready to go again. And our pesto is ready. I'm just gonna scrape down the edges where it's jumped up on the sides so that I can show you guys how much it makes. And there you go. Absolutely beautiful, fresh pesto, ready to roll for dinner. Whoops! For dinner tonight. So I'm just going to put this in a bowl, ready to go. So if you haven't used fresh pesto before, all you have to do is cook your pasta and cook it as much or as little as you like, and then run the pesto through it. Just pour it on top and mix. You can add some other bits and pieces if you want to. You could add some peas, some cooked peas, or some other like roast vegetables. You can also cook up some chicken, or just get some chicken that's pre-cooked and whiz that through as well. No need to cook it. Now, a little bit got onto the lid, so I'm just going to use this to scrape round. Don't want to miss out on any of this beautiful sauce. So there is enough pesto here for at least, I would say, 6 portions of good sized pasta. So if you want to, you don't have to use it all. You can freeze some, and you can just put it into a Tupperware dish and pop it into the freezer and use it when you're next ready. There we have homemade fresh pesto. Absolutely beautiful, full of lovely nutrients, ready to go. So final time now, I'm going to rinse the bowl out, and then I'm going to be making some homemade coleslaw. So this is going to be for some lunch, because I am going to make some jacket potatoes and then have some homemade coleslaw with some baked beans. So there's plenty of coleslaw recipes online, but I just wanted to show you an example of free cooking. So cooking using your own ideas, your own imagination, and generally what you've got in the store cupboard, because as I mentioned earlier, it can be a little bit of a tricky time at the moment, and we need to be creative, thinking out the box. Okay, so that is ready to go. I just dry the bowl. So just while I'm doing this, the Thermomix, once ordered, can be with you in a couple of days, which is very exciting news. None of these long lead times. So you literally get your order placed and then it'll be delivered by courier to your house within a couple of days, which is really good. So going back to what we were saying earlier about the price. So the price currently is £1,099. Now some of you might think, oh my gosh, that sounds like quite a lot of money, but hopefully from what you've seen today, what it's able to do, you'll perhaps start to understand that actually that's not a great deal of money, because you are pretty much buying a computer for all the things that it can do. And like I said, the actual money saving outweighs the price. It will have paid itself over the course of a year, paid for itself in the amount of money that you're going to save and wastage on food. Plus there's all the fun of cooking it yourself and getting the kids involved. All right, so final recipe. So I wanted some coleslaw. Normal things going coleslaw is going to be onion, cabbage and carrot. So I've got those ingredients, but I've also got a couple of other things. So I'm going to put these pieces of carrot in, and I've just taken a carrot, peeled it and chopped it in half. I'm going to throw it in the Thermomix. And then I've got a courgette. I've just taken half of it and I've cut it into 3 pieces. Chuck those in. I've got an onion and I've halved and quartered it, and I'm just going to use 2 of the quarters. And then I've got a chunk of cabbage, which I'm going to pop in. And then I'm also going to pop in some cashew nuts, just because I'm fancying a bit of protein in this coleslaw today. Obviously we all need to look out for our protein content, and nuts are a great way to get a bit of protein in nice quick fashion. All right, so obviously I'm not working from a recipe that's been pre-programmed, so I'm just being creative myself. I don't want it to get so chopped up that it becomes like a puree, so I'm just going to test it out, and I'm going to literally put it on for 4 seconds. And I'm going to go with speed 7. See, I could hear, because I'm used to using my Thermomix, that actually that was going to be completely blitzed in about 1 second. So, okay, what's happened here is that a couple of my carrots have been left behind, but the rest of it has been beautifully chopped, ready for your coleslaw. So actually, that was 2 seconds of chopping. And if you can see this, that is beautiful. So amazingly chopped, uniformly chopped, ready to literally just put some mayo in there. For me, it'll be vegan mayo. So, I'm really excited by that. That is going to be absolutely stunning. So that's my coleslaw sorted for lunch. So you can get creative with your Thermomix. You can make your own recipes. You can come up with different ideas. You can do all sorts of things. It's very exciting. What I've shown you today is just the very tip of the iceberg of what you can do with your Thermomix. If you have a look online, you'll see tons of recipes. There's recipe communities. It's massive in Australia. In Italy, they call it the bimby. But in Australia, I think pretty much every household has one. It's just becoming massive in England. And so if you haven't heard of it, that's why. So like I said at the beginning of the video, the reason I'm showing you this is because I want you to see what it's capable of doing, how it can change your life, and also give you the option of getting one before the price increases in April. I think that it's going to go up by at least a couple £100, if not more, to be honest. And that's happening literally 1st of April. So if you would like a Thermomix, if you are interested, then please give me a call, because I'm losing a lot of money right now with the current crisis. I teach yoga and all my classes have been completely cancelled. So I'm turning to my Thermomix to help me potentially generate a little bit of income. So you can private message me if you're watching this video on Facebook, or if you're not watching this video on Facebook and it's an email. My email address is Jennifer Mason, so it's Jennifer Jennifer Mason Mason 001 at gmail.com. So please do send me an email if you're interested. If you're not interested, please don't spam me. Keep it cool, guys, you know, we're all friends here. So what else can I tell you? It's amazing. I think that pretty much covers everything. And if you've got any questions, by all means, just give me a shout, and let's get this Thermomix world coming alive, bringing communities together, working with the kids, making beautiful food. Super easy. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.